Welcome, chosen ones. The time of reckoning is here. What's taken in shadows will burn in the light. You've felt it, haven't you? That quiet rage, that lingering exhaustion as they built kingdoms on your strength, your brilliance, your very soul, while you were left drained, forgotten, erased. They thought they could feast forever. They were dead wrong. History is full of stolen legacies. Think of the towering pyramids, monuments to brilliance, labor, and sacrifice. We marvel at the stones, but rarely speak of the hands that placed them, the sweat that sealed each block. Forgotten, like you were. But this time, the forgotten are being remembered, not by men, but by God. The reckoning has begun. Every throne built on lies is cracking. Every false empire built on stolen energy is shaking. They wore fake crowns and smiled with hollow pride, thinking karma was asleep. But karma doesn't sleep. It sharpens its blade in silence. What is built on deception crumbles in truth. They built glass castles on your foundation, blind to the fact that glass shatters. Now the reckoning is here, loud as thunder, sharp as lightning. God's justice isn't a quiet whisper. It's an earthquake splitting the ground beneath their feet. Imagine a mighty tree standing tall after choking the roots of others. For years, it cast a long shadow, stealing sunlight meant for others. But when the storm comes, the roots of truth will tear through the earth, and that towering lie will fall, loud, violent, final. The light of truth is relentless. It spares nothing built in the dark. You don't need revenge. Divine justice is already in motion, tearing down every false empire, one exposed lie at a time. Their wealth, power, and prestige, everything they built on your stolen energy, will turn to ash. What rises next will be unshakable because it will be built on truth. Prepare for fireworks. This isn't just payback, it's a cosmic masterpiece. The downfall will be public, poetic, and absolute. What they thought was permanent will vanish like smoke in the wind. Their pride will crumble like sandcastles against a tidal wave. So, stand firm, chosen ones. The energy they stole was never theirs to keep. Universe is balancing the scales, and justice won't be quite. It will roar like a lion. Chosen ones, it's time to rise. If you're ready, truly ready, to step into your divine purpose and reclaim what's rightfully yours, show it. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share this message with someone still trapped in the shadows, unaware of their true power. Drop 77 in the comments if you're done being used, done being drained, and ready to watch false empires fall while you ascend. Destiny isn't waiting. The universe is already moving. Are you bold enough to move with it? Let's begin. Number 1. Standing tall on borrowed power. They built castles in the sky, tall, dazzling, untouchable. But the secret they buried deep was that those towers stood on a foundation they didn't create. That foundation was you, your energy, your light, your belief. They took what wasn't theirs, not with force, but with manipulation so subtle you thought giving was your choice. You became the unseen cornerstone of their empire, while they basked in the glory, as if they'd built it all alone. Every success they celebrated, every door that opened for them, every triumph they flaunted. Behind it was a silent truth. It was powered by you. Your ideas turned into their achievements. Your trust fueled their rise. Your love stitched together their broken pieces while they pretended to be whole. They climbed because you were the ladder. They stood tall because you were the ground holding them steady. But there's a law older than time itself. What's built on stolen light will always collapse in darkness. They thought they'd defied that law, but energy taken without permission is like building a palace on shifting sand. It looks mighty until the ground starts to crack. And crack it will. Nothing stolen lasts forever. They might have worn the mask of brilliance, but deep inside, they always knew the truth. Success built on deception is hollow, a glass house waiting for the first storm. Every fake smile they wore was a shield against their deepest fear, that one day you'd wake up, that one day you'd see the strings they pulled, the power they drained, and realize it was yours all along. Borrowed power always carries an expiration date. They hoped you'd never figure that out. They prayed the mirage would last. But deep down, they felt the cracks forming, the slow, relentless pull of karma. They knew that every throne they sat on, every empire they built, was resting on something they could never truly own. Now, the collapse is inevitable. They might try to rebuild, but how do you reconstruct an empire when the foundation was never yours? You were the hidden force beneath it all. You were the spark, the architect, the lifeblood. Without you, they are castles in the air, weightless, powerless, doomed to fall. Remember this: they needed you, but you never needed them. The only thing holding them up was what they stole from you. Now, the universe is reclaiming what's yours. Their borrowed time has run out. Their empire is falling, and this time they have nothing to stand on. The foundation is shifting, and you're not holding them up anymore. Number 2. The laws of energy can't be cheated. Energy is the universe's most sacred currency, unseen but undeniable, limitless yet bound by unbreakable laws. It can't be created or destroyed, only borrowed, traded, or stolen. And that's exactly what they did. They drained your spirit, fed off your fire, and fueled their ambitions with energy they were never meant to have. They thought they'd outsmarted the system, living on borrowed power, as if the universe wasn't watching. But energy keeps perfect records. Every stolen breath, every manipulated emotion, every spark taken without consent is logged and accounted for. They might have fooled people, even fooled themselves, into thinking they were untouchable. But the universe doesn't miss a single detail. They've been writing checks their souls can't cash, and payday has arrived. The universe doesn't operate on human timelines, but its laws are absolute. What you take unjustly will be taken back, multiplied. It's cosmic cause and effect, an unstoppable balancing act. For every stolen piece of your light, the scales tilt. And when those scales tip, it's never gentle. It's an avalanche. They didn't just borrow energy. They built entire lives on unstable foundations, blind to the collapse they were setting into motion. Energy borrowed is energy owed, with interest. They thought they were clever, thought they'd cracked some cosmic cheat code. But energy is more than fuel. It's alignment. Build something on misaligned energy, and you're embedding destruction into its very foundation. Every false success they achieved was tied to an invisible countdown. They didn't know it then, but every step up the ladder brought them closer to the edge. Think of a house built on a stolen power grid. The lights might shine brightly for a while, but when the current cuts off, the darkness is absolute. That's what's happening now. Their empires, fueled by stolen fire, are flickering. The system they built is overloaded, crashing under the weight of its own imbalance. The universe is precise, relentless, and just. You can't steal what was never meant for you and expect to thrive. It's not punishment, it's restoration. Everything they took is coming back to you. Everything they built with your energy is collapsing into dust. The walls they thought were impenetrable are crumbling, and the towers they climbed are now cages with no escape. They spent their lives taking. Now, the universe is taking back. The energy they stole is returning home, to you, and this time it's unstoppable. Number 3. Karma, the silent force that rewrites destiny. Karma isn't just a spiritual cliché or a comforting thought. It's a force as real as gravity, relentless and precise. It doesn't ask for permission, doesn't seek approval, and never forgets. Every lie they told, every betrayal they committed, every drop of your energy they siphoned, it's all written in the universe's ledger, waiting for the perfect moment. They thought they could cheat it, outrun it, manipulate reality itself. But karma isn't fooled by appearances. The universe may be slow, but it never skips a debt. Karma watches in silence while the guilty rise, lets them build their towers of deception higher and higher, not as a reward, but to ensure the fall is long, loud, and merciless. The higher they climb on stolen power, the harder the crash. It's not punishment, it's the ultimate reset. What they never understood is that karma isn't about petty revenge. It's about restoring balance. Energy taken must be repaid with interest. Every manipulation, every secret theft of your light added weight to the reckoning headed their way. Now the tipping point has arrived. What they built on a foundation of lies is splitting at the seams, collapsing from within. Karma doesn't simply correct, it dismantles. It breaks false empires apart with precision that leaves no room for recovery. There's no rebuilding when karma strikes, only ruins where arrogance once stood. They thought they could outsmart the universe, but destiny doesn't negotiate. Their power, built on lies and stolen energy, was always temporary, a sandcastle against an incoming tide. The storm is here now. They might not have seen it coming, but you did. What's done in the dark will always be dragged into the light. Karma's justice isn't subtle, it's thunderous, undeniable, and absolute. It spares nothing built on deceit. This isn't the end, it's the reset. And when the dust settles, the only thing left standing will be what was true, earned, and unbreakable. You. Number 4. Their power was a mirage, fueled by your truth. Their so-called power was never real. It was a cleverly staged illusion powered by your hidden truth. They built their dominance by twisting reality, silencing your voice, and burying your authenticity beneath layers of deception. They crafted an image of strength, intelligence, and superiority, but that image only existed because they fed off you. They feared your truth because it was the one thing they couldn't control. Lies fear only one thing: the light of truth. They knew that the moment your light shone freely, their shadows would be exposed for what they really were: hollow, weak, and powerless. So they used every trick in the book: manipulation, gaslighting, and even planting seeds of doubt in your mind, making you question your worth and your reality. But deception has a fatal flaw. It requires constant maintenance. The moment you began waking up, their fragile empire began to shake. Truth doesn't destroy lies. It makes them collapse under their own weight. No amount of lies can hold forever against the force of authenticity breaking through. Now, the walls they built around you are crumbling, and with them, the false sense of power they projected. They feared this moment more than anything, not just losing control over you, but being exposed as frauds. The truth they worked so hard to suppress has become their undoing. Their reign was built on borrowed light, but now you are the light, and nothing can dim what was always yours. Number 5. Playing with fire. They could never contain. When they took from you, they weren't just stealing, they were meddling with something far beyond their understanding. Your energy isn't just power, it's a sacred force, forged in purpose and destined for greatness. But in their blind arrogance, they treated it like disposable fuel, draining your light to feed their greed, their egos, and their empty pursuits. They gambled with something priceless, thinking the universe wouldn't notice. They poured your essence into shallow victories, status symbols, hollow relationships, fleeting success, never realizing they were tampering with the divine. They didn't just overreach, they broke cosmic law, mistaking your spiritual fire for something they could control. What's sacred can't be stolen without consequence. They thought they were clever, that they could tap into your power and manipulate destiny itself. But divine energy isn't a resource you can take. It's a force that demands reverence. They crossed a line they didn't even know existed, and now the balance must be restored. What they poured into illusions will return to dust. What they built on stolen energy will collapse under its own weight. They played a dangerous game with forces far greater than themselves, and now the universe is collecting its debt with interest. They thought they were invincible. They thought the system could be hacked. But sacred energy doesn't forget, doesn't forgive, and never lets trespassers walk away unscathed. The fire they played with is now the fire that will consume them. Number 6. When God moves, it's not destruction, it's restoration. What's happening now isn't random, and it isn't just destruction, it's restoration. When God steps in, He doesn't simply tear down, He rebuilds with precision and purpose. The collapse you're witnessing isn't chaos, it's divine balance being restored. Every lie, every stolen piece of your essence, every twisted version of your truth is being stripped away, not just from them, but from the reality they tried to manipulate. They thought they were untouchable, crafting legacies built on deception and stolen strength. What's built on lies can't stand before truth. They mistook temporary success for permanence, believing they could claim what was never meant for them. But God never forgets. His justice isn't just about punishment, it's about reclaiming what's yours and returning it in ways far greater than you could imagine. The empires they built on false foundations are crumbling, not because of luck or circumstance, but because truth doesn't coexist with deception. Their titles, wealth, and influence were never truly theirs. They were borrowed on the backs of stolen energy. And now, the universe is demanding repayment in full. Restoration isn't gentle, it's a reckoning. This isn't just about reclaiming what you lost. It's about becoming whole again, with interest. What they took wasn't just material, it was pieces of your identity, your destiny, your light. But divine justice doesn't return things as they were. It makes them stronger, purer, more powerful. Their downfall isn't misfortune, it's inevitability. You were never forsaken. What's coming back to you was always meant to be yours. They lost the game the moment they played against destiny, because in the end, truth always wins. Number 7. When the fall comes, everyone will see it. Their collapse won't be quiet or easily ignored. This isn't a slow fade into obscurity or some carefully managed exit. No, their downfall will be loud, undeniable, and public. The same spotlight they once controlled, powered by stolen energy and manufactured lies, will now expose their ruin for the world to witness. They strutted through life wearing masks of success, pretending they were self-made, parading false victories as if they'd earned them. But truth doesn't whisper, it roars. And when it finally breaks through, it destroys every carefully constructed illusion in its path. What was hidden in the shadows is now coming to light, not for cruelty's sake, but because justice demands visibility. They thought the stage they built with deceit would always shine in their favor. What's celebrated in lies will be exposed in truth. That same platform they used to elevate themselves will now serve as their reckoning ground. The world will see their empire fall brick by brick, their carefully spun stories unraveling in real time. This isn't karma being petty, it's divine justice on full display. The universe doesn't operate in secrecy when balance is being restored. The same way they sought attention for their fabricated lives, they'll receive attention for their inevitable fall. Only this time, there's no script to control, no mask to wear. What's coming is unavoidable. It's not a rumor that fades or a quiet consequence they can hide from. It's absolute exposure. The lies they lived by will collapse under the weight of undeniable truth. Loud, dramatic, and final. What they built for show will fall for all to see. And when it happens, you'll know. The universe never forgets. Number 8. The key they threw away. Your energy wasn't just a source of power, it was the key to their transformation, their redemption, their way out of spiritual emptiness. By aligning with you, honoring your light, and collaborating with sincerity, they could have unlocked levels of growth they couldn't even imagine. Your energy was never just fuel, it was a sacred invitation to rise alongside you, to heal, to transcend. But arrogance blinded them. Instead of recognizing your divine purpose, they saw only something they could take, manipulate, and control. They didn't see a chance for redemption. They saw an opportunity for dominance. They chose theft over trust, manipulation over mutual growth. What could have been a bridge became a barrier. What they failed to understand is that sacred energy cannot be stolen without consequence. It's not a resource to be consumed. It's a force meant for purpose, guided by divine law. By exploiting your essence, they rejected the very salvation they so desperately needed. Every lie, every act of deceit pushed them further from the light they might have shared. A gift dishonored is a blessing lost. They thought they could take shortcuts, use you, and still reach the heights meant only for those walking in truth. But destiny isn't fooled by appearances. The very cycle they tried to trap you in has become their prison. They're stuck in the web of their own making, locked in spiritual stagnation, unable to ascend. Their fall isn't just about punishment, it's about missed potential. They lost far more than they ever imagined, not just what they took from you, but what they could have become if they'd chosen integrity over greed. And now, the same energy they misused is calling them to account, with no way out. Number 9. Borrowed time. Always runs out. Every win they paraded, every achievement they flaunted, was temporary. They lived off your energy like it was an endless well, draining your light without a second thought. They mistook your divine power for something they could own, something they could exploit forever. But sacred energy was never theirs to keep. They played the game well, for a while. They climbed, they succeeded, and the world applauded, oblivious to the truth behind their rise. They thought they'd hacked the system, believing momentum built on deception could last. But energy doesn't work that way. It cycles, it shifts, and ultimately, it returns to its source. Every empire they built on stolen power came with an invisible timer, a ticking clock they couldn't hear over the noise of their own ego. What's taken without permission always comes with a cost. And now, the clock has struck zero. Everything they thought they controlled is slipping through their fingers like sand in the wind. Their wins were illusions, borrowed moments on borrowed time. The energy they stole from you was never theirs to control. It was yours, destined to return, stronger and more unstoppable than before. Now they stand exposed, empty-handed, weighed down by the collapsing remnants of their fake successes. The spotlight they once craved is now a harsh, unforgiving glare. The victories they celebrated were nothing more than echoes, fading reminders of what was never truly theirs. What's borrowed must be returned, and as that energy flows back to you, fueled by divine restoration, they're left with nothing. The empire they thought would last forever is gone, because stolen power never stands the test of time. Number 10. Destined to witness the fall. This isn't about revenge, it's about revelation. As a chosen one, you were never meant to disappear into the shadows while their empire crumbled. You were meant to witness it, not as a passive observer, but as someone destined to see divine justice unfold with undeniable clarity. This is the plan. Your role was never to strike back or seek retribution. That was never your battle. Your purpose was greater, to stand in your truth and watch the collapse of what was built on deception, manipulation, and stolen energy. Truth suppressed doesn't die. It resurfaces with force. You were called to be a living witness to this reckoning, a spiritual testimony to the unstoppable power of the universe balancing its scales. Their false empire was never designed to last. It was a fragile structure built on shaky foundations of lies, arrogance, and theft. They believed they were untouchable, but energy never forgets. What they took wasn't just power, it was purpose, and purpose can't be stolen. It returns with divine precision. The fall of false power confirms the rise of true strength. The collapse you're witnessing isn't chaos, it's confirmation. It's the universe restoring balance, showing you that your struggles weren't in vain, that your journey, though painful, was part of something far greater than yourself. You weren't meant to suffer silently or fade into obscurity while they rose. You were meant to rise through the fire, to endure the trials and emerge unshaken. Now, as their world unravels, your spirit ascends. The fall of their illusions is the ultimate affirmation that true power can't be stolen. It must be earned. This isn't just a spectacle, it's proof. Their downfall isn't an end, it's your beginning. You were meant to see it, to understand it, and to be empowered by it. This is your reckoning too, your rise through the fall. Number 11. What was taken is returning transformed. The energy they stole from you isn't coming back as it was. It's returning refined, amplified, and unstoppable. Every lie, every betrayal, and every manipulation that tried to crush your spirit only forged that energy into something far more potent. What they thought they drained has been reborn through fire. They believed energy was just a resource to be used and discarded, but they misunderstood its divine nature. What endures struggle returns stronger. The universe has turned every hardship, every wound, into a crucible where your energy was refined, sharpened, and purified. What they took was never truly lost. It was transformed. While they thought they were winning, they were unknowingly fueling your comeback. Every trial you faced became spiritual alchemy, turning pain into power, loss into limitless potential. They thought they could break you, but all they did was create a force beyond their comprehension. Now, that energy is surging back, not as a faded memory of what was taken, but as something supercharged, divine, and unstoppable. It carries the wisdom of its journey, infused with the strength of all you've endured. What they built with stolen power has crumbled, while your energy, fully restored, is ready to elevate you to levels they could never fathom. What was stolen returns with greater purpose. Their betrayal was their downfall, but for you, it was the making of something far greater. The universe never forgets, never fails, and never returns energy unchanged. Your comeback isn't just personal, it's cosmic. The power you thought was gone was simply being remade, stronger, purer, and entirely yours. Number 12. They were never creators, only thieves. They called themselves builders, innovators, and masterminds of success. But they were never creators, only thieves. Every milestone they celebrated, every achievement they claimed, was built from energy that wasn't theirs. They drained your spirit, stole your ideas, and siphoned your essence to craft a reality they paraded as their own. They didn't build empires, they extracted them. Every false triumph they paraded was constructed from bricks made of stolen power. What they took in secret now crumbles in the light. Without your energy, they would have remained powerless, ordinary, unseen, insignificant. But instead of collaborating, they chose deception, taking what wasn't theirs and calling it destiny. The truth has always been there, hiding in plain sight. Their so-called empire was a fragile facade, a castle built on sand. They thought they could keep extracting from you indefinitely, but energy stolen isn't energy kept. It's borrowed on a ticking timer. And now, time has run out. As God's justice unfolds, what they claimed is being stripped away. Not because of fate or bad luck, but because false power can't endure. Their foundation was never real. It was you. Now, the lies holding up their world are collapsing under the weight of truth. What's stolen is always reclaimed. They're not just losing wealth, status, or influence. They're losing the false identity they crafted from stolen light. The very illusion that defined them is disintegrating. But this isn't about revenge. It's about restoration. What they took from you wasn't just energy. It was your essence, your destiny, your divine right. Now, as the universe restores balance, you rise, not with bitterness, but with purpose. They fall, but you ascend, powered by a truth that can't be stolen. This is just the beginning. As their empire crumbles, yours is rising, built on truth, resilience, and the unstoppable power of divine restoration. This isn't the end. It's the start of something eternal, something unshakable. You were never meant to fall. You were always destined to ascend. The reckoning is here. The rise is yours. And chosen one, if you're ready, truly ready, to step into your destiny, show it. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share this message with someone who needs to wake up. Comment 77 if you're done playing small and ready to rise. Destiny's knocking. Will you answer? Let's begin.